Prepare to embark on a journey where intertwined destinies, unwavering bonds, and heart-wrenching challenges reveal the true meaning of love and ambition. In this epic saga, twin brothers and twin sisters defy fate, embracing both the beauty of unity and the storm of relentless aspirations. If you're captivated by stories that push the boundaries of passion and perseverance, subscribe now to join this unforgettable adventure. Now, let the story unfold. Dylan and Noah Rivers were born into a life that smelled of fresh hay, rich earth, and endless Tennessee skies. The sprawling family ranch had been their playground since the moment they opened their eyes. Their childhood was defined by the rhythm of dawn, when the cool mist would cling to dew-laden fields, and the rising sun painted golden hues over the horses grazing peacefully. Their parents, John and Mary, instilled in them values of hard work, integrity, and an unspoken kinship with nature. From the very beginning, the twin brothers displayed an extraordinary bond, a connection that transcended words. Although Dylan was technically older by a few minutes, his quiet, methodical nature was complemented by Noah's daring and effervescent spirit. Every morning, while Dylan meticulously planned the day's chores and paid close attention to the needs of the animals, Noah would burst forth with laughter, eager to race through the open fields and ride his favorite stallion. Their lives were a blend of routine and spontaneous adventure, where the love for their home, the land, and each other was the single constant. In the nearby town, the Carter sisters, Sophie and Lauren, lived a life that, while markedly different in setting, shared an equally deep-rooted connection. The cafe their parents owned had been a cornerstone of the community for as long as anyone could remember. The warm, inviting aroma of freshly brewed coffee and homemade pastries set the stage for the sisters' childhood. Sophie, ever responsible and detail-oriented, managed the financial ledgers and maintained order, while Lauren's vibrant spontaneity turned every moment into an opportunity for delight. Even from a young age, the sisters' complementary natures made them an unstoppable duo, one who balanced pragmatism with passion and duty with dreams. As the seasons changed on the ranch and in the town, the lives of these four individuals evolved in parallel tracks, seemingly destined to one day converge. In the quiet moments of early dawn and the hushed reverence of dusk, both families sensed that the threads of fate were beginning to weave a larger tapestry, a tapestry that would eventually bind them together in ways they had never imagined. Their childhoods, filled with laughter, shared secrets, and the natural rhythm of their worlds, laid the foundation for a future where love, ambition, and the bonds of family would be tested and strengthened. Dylan's gentle understanding of animals and his innate sense of responsibility contrasted beautifully with Noah's zest for life, while Sophie's calm determination mirrored Lauren's infectious enthusiasm. The natural cadence of farm life taught them the importance of loyalty, sacrifice, and the beauty found in simplicity. Yet, beneath the idyllic surface, each of them harbored dreams larger than the confines of their familiar surroundings. In the endless stretch of the Tennessee countryside, with its rolling fields and open skies, every day was an opportunity to grow, to challenge the status quo, and to imagine a life beyond the horizon. As children, they knew nothing of the trials that awaited them, nor of the choices that would one day lead them down paths of both triumph and heartache. But the roots of their relationships, those silent, unspoken bonds, grew ever deeper with each passing day. In a world where the future was as wide and open as the fields around them, Dylan, Noah, Sophie, and Lauren were unknowingly preparing for a destiny that would soon intertwine their lives forever. It was a hot summer afternoon during the town's annual festival, a celebration that brought the entire community together in a vibrant display of local culture and tradition. For the first time, the paths of the Rivers twins and the Carter sisters were destined to converge in a way that neither family had ever experienced. The festival, with its lively music, bustling food stalls, and spirited competitions, served as a backdrop for serendipitous encounters that would soon alter the course of their lives. Dylan and Noah had come to the festival with a singular mission: to showcase the finest horses of their family ranch. They set up an impressive display complete with interactive demonstrations and riding lessons designed to attract visitors and potential new patrons. The air was thick with excitement, and the promise of new beginnings. Simultaneously, at the very heart of the festival, Sophie and Lauren were busy at work at the family cafe stall, expertly serving steaming cups of coffee and freshly baked pastries to eager festival goers. Their charm and warmth had already made them local favorites, and that day, their friendly smiles were as much a part of the event as the live music and homemade treats. The fateful meeting began with an innocuous moment of chaos, a miscalculation on the crowded festival ground that set destiny in motion. Lauren, gracefully navigating through the throng of excited festival attendees, accidentally tilted a tray filled with delicate coffee cups. In that split second, as the cups seemed destined for a disastrous fall, Noah, with instincts honed from years of riding, intercepted the cascade with an effortless, swift movement. Their eyes locked in a silent exchange, a spark of amusement and recognition that hinted at something far deeper than a mere act of timely rescue. Lauren's laughter, light and genuine, filled the air, breaking the tension, while Noah's playful grin hinted at a newfound intrigue. Nearby, at the cafe stall, Sophie was wrestling with a stubborn sack of flour that threatened to spill onto the busy ground. Without hesitation, Dylan stepped in. His quiet strength and calm demeanor shone through as he hoisted the sack effortlessly, a simple act of kindness that left Sophie momentarily speechless. In that brief encounter, a connection was forged, one that promised more than the mundane exchange of pleasantries. Both pairs, though caught in the rush of festival excitement, found themselves inexplicably drawn to one another, as if fate had designed this very moment to change the course of their lives. As the day progressed, the initial spark blossomed into conversations that felt both natural and inevitable. Lauren and Noah's interaction was punctuated by laughter, playful banter, and a mutual recognition of kindred spirits. Meanwhile, Dylan and Sophie, with their more reserved natures, found solace in deep discussions about dreams, ambitions, and the subtle nuances of running a ranch or a cafe. The festival, with its vibrant energy and shared traditions, had become the perfect setting for these emerging relationships to take root. Throughout the day, as music played and the festival lights began to twinkle against the deepening sky, it was clear to everyone present that something significant was beginning. What had started as simple, fortuitous encounters had rapidly grown into a profound sense of destiny. Both families felt an inexplicable shift, an awareness that their lives, once parallel and separate, were now intertwined by a thread that promised lasting change. Amid the laughter, the chatter, and the glow of the evening, the stage was set for a journey that would transform their hearts and their futures forever. In the days following the festival, the spark ignited by fate blossomed into tentative first steps toward romance. The newfound connection between the two pairs deepened rapidly as each individual discovered in the other a reflection of their own dreams and desires. In a world that had until now been defined by routine and familiarity, these first dates provided a welcome departure, a chance to explore the unknown and to embrace the possibility of something extraordinary. Noah, the ever-adventurous spirit, wasted no time in suggesting an impromptu evening ride. One golden sunset, with the sky aflame in hues of orange and pink, he invited Lauren to join him for a ride across the open fields that had been his playground since childhood. Her heart fluttered with anticipation as she met him at the ranch. Noah's easy charm was evident from the start. He greeted her with a mischievous smile and a promise of an unforgettable journey. Mounted on a sleek, well-trained horse, they galloped together, the cool breeze carrying away the day's warmth as their laughter mingled with the rhythmic sound of hooves against soft earth. The ride was filled with moments of shared exhilaration, sudden bursts of speed, gentle glances, and whispered confidences that hinted at future adventures yet to come. Meanwhile, Dylan and Sophie's first date took a more measured, intimate turn. The following day, Sophie arrived at the ranch with a mixture of curiosity and gentle apprehension, uncertain of what to expect. Dylan was waiting near the stables, his quiet smile offering a reassuring welcome. Together, they embarked on a slow, deliberate walk through the sprawling pastures, where the languid afternoon sun cast a soft glow on the grazing horses. Dylan spoke with quiet passion about the history of the ranch, the generations that had nurtured it, and the subtle ways in which nature spoke to those who listened. His words painted vivid images of the land's soul, while Sophie listened intently, her heart opening to the possibility of a shared future rooted in tradition and heartfelt connection. As the day unfolded, both couples found themselves learning more than just the details of a promising date. Lauren and Noah reveled in the thrill of spontaneity and the freedom of the open road, while Dylan and Sophie discovered that even in the quiet moments, the heart could race with anticipation. Their conversations meandered from light-hearted humor to reflections on personal dreams and the gentle, unspoken promise of more shared days. With every shared smile and every delicate touch, the foundation of their relationships was carefully laid, a delicate balance of passion and tenderness, adventure and reflection. The experience was transformative for all involved. For Lauren, the ride was not just a physical journey but an emotional leap toward embracing the unknown. For Noah, it was a chance to share his world with someone who understood his spirit. Similarly, Sophie found comfort and inspiration in Dylan's patient storytelling, while he, in turn, discovered in her a kindred soul whose warmth could rival the beauty of a Tennessee sunset. In the quiet aftermath of their first dates, both couples felt a stirring within them, a blend of hope, excitement, and the quiet assurance that their lives were about to change in profound and unexpected ways. The first chapter of romance had been written under the vast skies of their homelands, marking the beginning of a story that promised to grow as deeply as the roots of the ancient trees that lined the fields. As the weeks turned into months, the tender blossoms of romance between the twins and the sisters began to flourish into something richer and more profound. What had started as flirtatious exchanges and shared adventures quickly deepened into a steady, comforting love that neither pair had anticipated. Noah and Lauren embraced every opportunity for excitement, while Dylan and Sophie found themselves growing ever closer with every quiet conversation and shared sunset. Noah's and Lauren's relationship was marked by an exhilarating blend of spontaneity and playfulness. Late-night drives on country roads, impromptu picnics beneath starlit skies, and weekend escapades to explore hidden waterfalls became their cherished rituals. They reveled in the thrill of the unknown, often planning no more than a single destination and letting the journey guide them. For Lauren, who had always longed for more than the confines of her small-town life, these adventures were a revelation, a taste of freedom that lit up every corner of her spirit. Noah, whose love for life was matched only by his loyalty, embraced each moment with an infectious enthusiasm that filled every quiet gap with laughter and joy. In contrast, Dylan and Sophie's courtship was a slow-burning testament to the beauty of steady affection. Their time together was spent wandering through fields and quiet trails, where each step was accompanied by gentle, measured words. Dylan's deep understanding of the ranch and the land's storied past captivated Sophie, who found in his calm demeanor a promise of stability and unwavering support. Their conversations often turned to dreams for the future, visions of a life where hard work, tradition, and love intertwined in seamless harmony. With each shared story and every quiet evening spent in reflective silence, they built a bond that felt both timeless and profound. As love deepened, the four of them began to integrate their worlds. The ranch and the cafe became more than just places of work. They evolved into sanctuaries where dreams were nurtured and bonds were celebrated. Dinner conversations would often blend tales of the day's adventures with plans for the future, and weekends were reserved for joint outings that allowed both families to relax and appreciate the simple joys of life. Even the smallest gestures, Noah's spontaneous serenades under the stars or Dylan's gentle, reassuring touch on Sophie's shoulder, became symbols of a commitment that was steadily growing stronger with time. Yet, amid the blossoming romance and shared laughter, the underlying reality of their individual ambitions began to surface. Both pairs were acutely aware that the dream of building a beautiful life was interwoven with challenges and sacrifices. For Lauren, the thrill of exploration was tempered by the responsibilities of a growing cafe business, while Noah's free-spirited nature was balanced by the looming pressures of managing the ranch's day-to-day operations. Similarly, Dylan and Sophie found that while their quiet love was comforting, the future demanded hard choices and unyielding determination. In the soft glow of dusk and the quiet hush of twilight, The promise of a lifetime together began to shimmer on the horizon, a beacon of hope that would soon guide them through trials yet to come. Their love, deep and unyielding, was becoming the foundation upon which they would build not only their personal lives, but also the dreams of two intertwined families. In every shared glance, every whispered secret, and every silent promise, there was the assurance that no matter what challenges lay ahead, the strength of their bond would carry them through. The days of carefree adventure and gentle intimacy coalesced into a shared vision, a future where love was the guiding light, uniting hearts and dreams in a tapestry that was as enduring as it was beautiful. The moment had finally arrived when the promises whispered in quiet fields were ready to be transformed into a celebration of eternal love. In a heartwarming twist of fate, the Rivers twins and the Carter sisters decided to solidify their commitment in a double wedding that would capture the hearts of everyone in their small community. It was a night destined to be remembered, a night where the boundaries between two families blurred into one harmonious celebration. In the days leading up to the wedding, the air around the ranch was abuzz with anticipation and meticulous planning. Dylan and Noah worked side by side, their bond unshaken by the occasional disagreements about details, and the excitement of starting a new chapter infused every task. Meanwhile, Sophie and Lauren orchestrated the finer points of the ceremony with a blend of grace and precision. Under soft fairy lights and the gentle hum of anticipation, every detail, from the floral arrangements to the rustic wooden arches draped in greenery, spoke of a shared dream coming true. The couple's families poured their hearts into every element of the celebration, ensuring that the day would be as unforgettable as the love it honored. On the morning of the wedding, the ranch was transformed into a scene straight out of a storybook. The open fields served as a breathtaking backdrop, their wide expanse symbolizing the limitless possibilities of the future. Friends, neighbors, and well-wishers gathered early, their faces radiant with joy and expectation. The ceremony was set in a clearing where the delicate scent of wildflowers mingled with the earthy aroma of fresh hay. Soft music drifted through the air, carried by the breeze, setting a serene tone that promised both beauty and solemnity. When the moment arrived, the brothers and sisters stood side by side, each pair reflecting a unique balance of strength and tenderness. Lauren's eyes sparkled as she realized the magnitude of the occasion, while Noah's confident smile masked the deep emotions stirring within him. Sophie, ever composed, appeared radiant, her gentle warmth captivating all those in her presence. Dylan's quiet strength shone through in every subtle glance he shared with her, a silent promise that no matter what, they would always stand together. The vows were exchanged under the open sky, each word imbued with the heartfelt sincerity of a love that had grown over years of shared experience. The double ceremony, woven with threads of tradition, modernity, and personal meaning, was a testament to the strength of bonds that had been nurtured from childhood. As the sun began its slow descent behind the distant hills, casting golden hues over the gathering, the newlyweds took their first steps into a life together. Every whispered promise and every tear of joy from the guests was a reminder that this celebration was not just the union of two couples, but the melding of two families who had always been connected by fate. After the ceremony, the festivities continued well into the night. Laughter and music filled the air as everyone danced beneath the stars, and quiet moments of reflection allowed the couples to steal away and share private smiles and whispered hopes. Standing at the edge of the party, Dylan and Sophie found a brief moment of solitude, an intimate interlude that allowed them to absorb the magnitude of what had just transpired. In that moment, as they gazed at the floating lanterns ascending into the velvet sky, they knew that their love, and the love shared by all those gathered, was a promise that would endure even in the face of life's inevitable challenges. The wedding was more than a celebration of romance. It was a communal reaffirmation of commitment and hope, a moment when past, present, and future converged into a single radiant promise. With the echoes of laughter and music still lingering in the cool night air, the newly married couples embraced their new reality, knowing that the journey ahead, though uncertain, was a path they would walk hand in hand, united by love and destiny. The early days of married life settled in like the gentle rhythms of a familiar song, both comforting and challenging in its subtleties. For Dylan and Sophie, the transition was as natural as the changing of the seasons, even though it brought with it unanticipated adjustments. Their mornings became a quiet celebration of routine, shared cups of coffee on the porch as the sun slowly ascended over the ranch, and evenings spent in soft conversations about hopes and future dreams. Every task, from tending to the horses to managing the day-to-day operations of the ranch, was imbued with the warmth of their union. In a parallel corner of this new chapter, Noah and Lauren experienced married life in bursts of vibrant spontaneity. Their days were filled with last-minute adventures, sunset rides, spontaneous road trips, and even secret midnight drives under a canopy of stars. Yet the thrill that had once defined their every moment soon began to show cracks. The passion for adventure, while undeniably intoxicating, was juxtaposed with the practical demands of running a business. Lauren found herself juggling the responsibilities of expanding the cafe's offerings, while Noah's boundless energy was gradually sapped by the long, demanding hours required to keep the ranch thriving. As the weeks passed, the initial euphoria of newlywed bliss began to face the weight of reality. For Dylan and Sophie, whose love had been built on slow, deliberate moments, the transition to married life was marked by an ever-present desire for balance, a balance between the passion of their personal dreams and the responsibilities of their shared future. Their conversations often meandered through memories of simpler times, interlaced with cautious plans for growth that promised to honor the traditions of their past while embracing the innovations of the future. Noah and Lauren, on the other hand, found that the spontaneous energy that had once drawn them together began to falter under the strain of endless tasks. Their once carefree laughter was gradually replaced by long hours of planning and negotiation, and the thrill of their adventurous spirit was shadowed by the realities of running a business in a competitive world. Even as they launched new projects, guided trail rides, weekend riding lessons, and group retreats, the underlying pressure to succeed began to take its toll. The once seamless interplay between excitement and intimacy was giving way to moments of exhaustion and frustration. Despite the challenges, both couples clung to the belief that love, when nurtured, was resilient enough to overcome even the most formidable obstacles. They made time for each other amid the whirlwind of responsibilities, quiet dinners under candlelight, spontaneous walks under the stars, and gentle reminders that, no matter how demanding the day, their love remained the cornerstone of everything they did. In the gentle ebb and flow of their new routines, the couples learned that marriage was not a destination but a journey, one that required constant attention, mutual understanding, and a willingness to adapt. As the days turned into months, the adjustments in married life became a shared experience, one that deepened the bonds between them and set the stage for future challenges. Both couples discovered that even in the midst of change, there was solace in the familiar, the steadfast support of a partner who had chosen to walk through life's highs and lows together. The trials of the early days served as a reminder that love was not just about the big, dramatic moments, but also about the quiet, everyday acts of kindness and sacrifice that ultimately defined a lifelong commitment. Even the brightest dreams can cast long shadows when reality begins to encroach. In the midst of their newfound married bliss, the relentless demands of building a future began to wear on both couples. The initial magic that had enveloped the Rivers twins and the Carter sisters started to yield to the pressure of endless responsibilities and the strain of trying to expand a business that was once defined by its simplicity. Dylan and Noah, who had always been the pillars of the family ranch, soon found themselves grappling with an unanticipated surge in business. Their days were filled with meetings, logistical challenges, and a never-ending stream of decisions that, while promising growth, began to erode the harmony they had once taken for granted. Long hours at the stables and constant negotiations with suppliers and clients started to blur the lines between work and personal life. The brothers, who had always shared an unspoken understanding, now found that the pressures of ambition were creating fissures in their bond. Every decision, every disagreement, resonated with the unyielding stress of a future that seemed to slip further away with each passing day. In the small hours of the evening, as the cool Tennessee night settled in, Sophie and Lauren observed the mounting tension with heavy hearts. Sophie, with her keen sense of organization, worried that every extra hour at work was a step away from the simple life they had once cherished. Lauren, whose vibrant energy had fueled so many adventures, felt that their spontaneous spirit was being choked by the incessant demands of a growing enterprise. The once effortless laughter and shared moments of quiet joy were gradually replaced by heated discussions over schedules, pricing, and the relentless need to expand. One particularly exhausting evening, when the weight of decisions and the pressure to keep the momentum going had reached a breaking point, an argument erupted. In a heated discussion around a long, creaking dinner table, Noah insisted that they take more risks and push forward aggressively to capture every opportunity. His voice, usually so full of easy confidence, now carried an edge of frustration and desperation. Dylan countered with a measured plea for caution, insisting that taking smart, calculated risks was the only way to ensure long-term stability. The conversation spiraled into a bitter exchange, with neither side willing to concede that perhaps, for the first time, they had lost sight of what truly mattered. The argument left a lingering tension in the air, a palpable sense that the very foundation of their shared dreams was cracking. Sophie tried to mediate, suggesting that perhaps a balance could be found between ambition and well-being. Lauren, usually the voice of spontaneity, hesitated, her eyes reflecting the weariness of a spirit that had once soared but was now burdened by the incessant demands of growth. The once unbreakable bond between the families began to show signs of strain. Conversations that were once filled with shared hopes turned into debates about priorities, and every small disagreement seemed to amplify into a larger, more existential crisis. In the days that followed, the tension remained unspoken yet omnipresent, a silent reminder that the relentless pursuit of success had begun to erode the very joy that had once fueled their dreams. Both couples were forced to confront the hard truth. The magic of their early romance was now being overshadowed by the complexities of adult responsibilities and the ever-mounting pressure to prove themselves in a competitive world. It was a time of reckoning, where the price of ambition was measured not just in achievements, but in the quiet, irreplaceable moments of connection that were slipping away. For the first time, the Rivers twins and the Carter sisters realized that the balance they had taken for granted was fragile, and that without careful attention, the very ties that bound them could unravel. It was in this crucible of stress and disillusionment that the true test of their love and commitment was about to begin, a test that would either strengthen the bonds they had nurtured since childhood or force them to confront the possibility of losing everything they had built together. The tension that had been simmering beneath the surface eventually reached a boiling point one particularly long and emotionally charged evening. After a day filled with endless tasks and unresolved disputes over the future of the business, the four of them gathered around a familiar dinner table, the same table that had once been a symbol of warmth and unity. But on this night, its polished wood bore witness to a storm of words, emotions, and raw vulnerability. Noah's frustration was palpable as he argued for a more aggressive approach to capitalize on every opportunity. His voice, usually confident and brimming with adventurous energy, was now tinged with impatience and a hint of bitterness. "How long are we supposed to wait?" he demanded, his tone echoing in the silent room. "Business doesn't work like this if we're not taking risks." His words cut through the air, each syllable charged with the intensity of long-held resentment. Dylan's jaw tightened in response, his calm nature now overshadowed by a deep-seated determination to protect the family's legacy. "I'm not saying we do nothing," he retorted quietly, "but we must be smart about our choices. Rushing headlong could cost us everything." At that moment, the air in the room shifted from one of shared purpose to one of deep-seated division. Sophie, who had been silently observing the rising tension, finally spoke up with a measured voice that belied the storm raging inside her. "It's not just about taking risks," she said softly, yet firmly. "It's about taking the right risks. We need balance. Without it, we're just tearing ourselves apart." Her words, though spoken calmly, carried the weight of accumulated worry and unspoken fears. Lauren sat quietly beside her, the usually vivacious spark in her eyes dimmed by the gravity of the situation. The room, filled with familiar faces, now seemed like a battleground where old bonds were being tested to their very limits. As the conversation continued, each small disagreement seemed to magnify into an insurmountable chasm. The once harmonious cadence of their interactions was replaced by clipped exchanges and stifled sighs. Even the simple act of sharing a meal became a reminder of the distance that had grown between them. The silence that followed the heated debate was heavy, a pregnant pause filled with the unspoken realization that if nothing changed soon, they risked losing not just their business, but the very relationships that had sustained them through life's many challenges. Later that night, as each individual retired to their separate corners of the sprawling homestead, the emotional fallout of the day lingered like a thick fog. Dylan lay awake in his room, the echo of Sophie's soft admonitions and Noah's harsh words mingling in his mind. In another part of the house, Noah found himself staring into the dark, unable to shake the feeling that something precious was slipping away. The quiet desperation was shared by Sophie and Lauren alike, as each grappled with the painful recognition that their carefully built dreams were now in jeopardy. The breaking point had been reached, not with one catastrophic event, but through a series of small, unresolved conflicts that had accumulated over time. In that moment, the once unbreakable bond between the families was threatened by the harsh reality of ambition and the relentless pressure of success. As the night deepened, the silence between them grew more profound, marking the end of an era and the beginning of a painful reckoning with the cost of their aspirations. In the aftermath of the heated confrontation, a sense of foreboding settled over the ranch like a heavy, unyielding cloud. It was as though the very ground beneath them sensed that something was amiss. For Dylan, the weight of responsibility and the lingering stress of that bitter evening finally converged into a moment of unexpected peril. One cool evening, while trying to find solace in the familiar rhythm of horseback riding, Dylan mounted his favorite horse and set off into the quiet expanse of the open fields. The cool night air did little to quell the turmoil in his mind, and he rode with a mixture of determination and a hint of distraction. As he navigated the winding trails near the far edge of the ranch, the subtle cues of his surroundings, the rustle of the wind through the tall grass, the soft murmur of distant crickets, seemed to whisper a warning. Suddenly, without any obvious cause, the horse became agitated. Its ears flicked back and forth, and a low, warning whinny escaped its throat. In a heartbeat, the calm night was shattered as the horse bolted, startled by an unseen threat. Dylan, caught off guard, was thrown violently from the saddle. In that split second, the world turned upside down, land, sky, and the uncertain future blurring into one chaotic swirl of pain and confusion. Noah, who had been occupied with the mounting responsibilities back at the stables, was suddenly gripped by an unshakable intuition, a deep, gut feeling that something was terribly wrong with his brother. Without a moment's hesitation, he raced toward the distant noise of commotion. The scene that met him was harrowing. Dylan lay sprawled on the ground, his face pale and contorted in pain, the remnants of the fall scattered around him like fragments of a broken dream. Time seemed to slow as Noah knelt beside his injured brother, a torrent of worry and regret surging through him. Lauren, always quick to act in times of crisis, immediately pulled out her phone and dialed for help, her voice steady despite the anxiety that threatened to overwhelm her. Sophie, too, rushed to Dylan's side, her gentle hands carefully checking for injuries, each touch a silent plea for him to hold on. The chaos of that night was punctuated only by Noah's urgent reassurances and the steady hum of approaching emergency vehicles. In the midst of the frantic scene, the bond between the brothers and the sisters was palpable, each one acutely aware that this was a turning point. As paramedics arrived and swiftly took over, Noah stayed by Dylan's side, his heart heavy with the realization that the unrelenting pressures and unresolved conflicts had culminated in this painful accident. It was a stark, visceral reminder that life, with all its ambitions and dreams, was fragile and unpredictable. The accident was not just a physical mishap. It was a symbolic moment, a wake-up call that the relentless drive to succeed had come at too great a cost. In the silent aftermath of that traumatic night, as Dylan was carefully loaded into an ambulance and the cool Tennessee air carried away the last echoes of the commotion, everyone present was forced to confront a painful truth. Sometimes, the things we take for granted, the bonds of family, the shared laughter, the gentle moments of connection, are the very treasures we risk losing in the pursuit of our dreams. In the days that followed Dylan's accident, the ranch became a place of hushed reflection and cautious hope. The physical wounds were slowly healing, but the emotional scars cut deeper than anyone had anticipated. Dylan's injury served as a brutal wake-up call, a stark reminder that life was too precious to be sacrificed on the altar of ambition. With each hospital visit, as Sophie sat vigil by his bedside and Noah stood by, guilt and regret mingled with relief. Relief that Dylan was still with them, and regret that the relentless pursuit of success had led them to this fragile moment. The accident forced each of them to reevaluate their priorities. Late-night conversations replaced heated arguments as they recounted memories of simpler times, the unburdened laughter of childhood, the quiet comfort of shared silences, and the unspoken bond that had once held them together in moments of both joy and sorrow. Sophie and Lauren, in particular, became the voices of calm amidst the storm. Their gentle reminders of love and unity resonated deeply, encouraging the others to pause and reflect on what truly mattered. Noah, whose adventurous spirit had long driven the family's pursuits, found himself grappling with a newfound understanding of the delicate balance between ambition and well-being. In the quiet moments by Dylan's side, he acknowledged that their bond was too valuable to be compromised by endless, exhausting demands. Dylan, despite the pain and frustration of his injuries, began to see the accident as an opportunity, a moment to step back and reconsider the pace at which they were racing through life. He realized that every bruise, every ache, was a reminder that love, family, and the simple joys of life were worth far more than any fleeting success. In the wake of the accident, the family gathered to discuss their future with a renewed sense of purpose. The conversation, once dominated by the relentless drive to expand and succeed, gradually shifted toward a shared vision of balance and care. There was talk of adjusting workloads, of setting aside time for moments of rest and reflection, a promise that the lessons learned from this ordeal would not be forgotten. Even the stubborn, relentless momentum that had once defined their approach began to yield to a softer, more compassionate rhythm. In those quiet days of recovery, as Dylan's strength slowly returned, and the family's unity was reforged in the crucible of hardship, a gentle transformation took place. The ranch was no longer just a symbol of ambition, but a home where love, laughter, and the wisdom of hard lessons coexisted with the dreams of the future. It was in that delicate balance that they began to rebuild, a commitment to each other that would forever honor the lessons of pain and the promise of renewal. With the passage of weeks, as Dylan's strength returned, and the initial shock of the accident began to fade, a quiet transformation took root within the hearts of everyone on the ranch. The harsh, relentless pace that had once driven them was gradually replaced by a newfound focus on balance, a commitment to nurturing not only their ambitions, but also the tender moments that made life worth living. It started with small adjustments, scheduled pauses between work sessions, evenings dedicated solely to shared laughter and conversation, and an unspoken agreement that the health of their relationships was as important as the success of their business. Dylan and Sophie, whose gentle courtship had always been a model of careful deliberation, began to relish the return of those quiet moments that had once defined their connection. They spent long afternoons together, walking hand in hand through the pastures, discussing not just the future of the ranch, but also the simple pleasures that life had to offer: a favorite book, a memory of childhood, the beauty of a sunset. Each conversation, each shared smile, became a reaffirmation of their love and a promise to cherish the balance between work and home. Noah and Lauren, too, embraced a slower rhythm. Their relationship, once defined by bursts of spontaneous adventure, now found a deeper meaning in the comfort of routine and the security of shared plans. They began to integrate time for personal retreats, a quiet dinner at home, a leisurely drive through the winding country roads, even moments of solitude where they could simply be together without the demands of an ever-expanding business. The pressure to push forward aggressively was replaced by a mindful approach to growth, one that allowed for both ambition and well-being to coexist in harmony. The transformation was not immediate or without challenges. There were days when old habits and the pull of relentless drive threatened to disrupt the fragile balance they had so carefully cultivated. Yet, with every challenge, the lessons of the past, the painful memories of arguments, and the stark reminder of Dylan's accident served as a compass, guiding them back to what truly mattered. The family began to understand that success was not solely measured in profits or accolades, but in the quality of the moments shared together and the strength of the bonds that held them together. This new approach permeated every aspect of their lives. Work became less of a race and more of a craft, a carefully considered process that allowed creativity and passion to flourish without overwhelming the spirit. The ranch, once a battlefield of ambition, transformed into a haven of cooperation and mutual respect. Even the simplest tasks, like feeding the horses or tending to the gardens, became opportunities for connection, a reminder that every day held the promise of renewal and joy. In this journey of rediscovery, the Rivers twins and the Carter sisters found not just balance, but a deeper understanding of themselves and each other. They learned that the true measure of their success lay not in the relentless pace of expansion, but in the quiet, enduring moments of love, understanding, and shared resilience. As they sat together one calm evening, watching the sun dip below the horizon, each of them felt a profound gratitude for the lessons learned, a commitment to nurture the bonds that had nearly been lost, and to always prioritize the well-being of the hearts that beat in unison at the center of their world. In the final stretch of this turbulent, yet transformative journey, the once fractured bonds of family and love emerged stronger and more resilient than ever. The challenges they had faced, the relentless pressures of ambition, the bitter disputes, and even Dylan's near-fatal accident, had taught them that true success was measured not in the swift pace of growth, but in the deep, abiding connections that sustained them through life's storms. Dylan, Noah, Sophie, and Lauren embraced this newfound wisdom as they looked to the future with cautious optimism. The ranch and the cafe had evolved from simple businesses into symbols of a shared legacy, a legacy built not on rushed decisions and sleepless nights, but on the careful balance of ambition and care. With each passing day, the family learned to celebrate every small victory, a repaired fence here, a well-cooked meal there, as a testament to their perseverance and commitment to one another. Even as they began to expand their horizons, introducing new programs like guided trail rides, weekend retreats, and rider training sessions, they did so with a renewed emphasis on sustainability and balance. The once overwhelming pressure to succeed had been tempered by a collective understanding that their greatest asset was not their business acumen, but the love and trust that had been forged through decades of shared experiences. In board meetings and planning sessions, laughter and gentle reminders of past lessons softened the edges of tension, reminding everyone that they were, above all, a family. As the months turned into a promising new season, both couples found themselves not only partners in life, but also pillars of a community that had grown to admire their resilience. Dylan and Sophie often spent quiet evenings on the ranch's porch, their conversations filled with dreams for the future and memories of the simple joys that had brought them together. Their bond, which had weathered the storms of ambition and discord, now shone with the clarity of a promise kept. Meanwhile, Noah and Lauren rediscovered the thrill of adventure, but this time, their escapades were punctuated by a shared sense of purpose and a commitment to savor every moment rather than rush toward an uncertain horizon. Standing together at community gatherings, celebrating local achievements, or simply sharing a moment of quiet reflection under the vast Tennessee sky, the four of them were a living testament to the power of balance. They had learned that the key to a strong future lay not in relentless pursuit, but in the ability to slow down, to savor the sweetness of each shared moment, and to listen to the quiet wisdom of the heart. Now, as new chapters of life unfolded with the promise of both challenges and opportunities, they looked ahead with a profound sense of gratitude and unity. Their journey, from the carefree days of childhood, through the fervor of first love and the trials of ambition, to the hard-won peace of a balanced life, had transformed them into individuals who knew that together, they could face any storm. Their future was bright, not because of the swift pace of progress, but because of the enduring strength of the bonds they had nurtured, a strength that would carry them forward into a new chapter filled with promise, resilience, and above all, the timeless power of love. Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts and what you'd like to see next. Your support means the world. See you in the next video.